this is how you can have healthy, well-balanced relationships with your family, with your friends, with your work, whatever it may be, even with yourself. You do that by setting boundaries. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD. Super glad to have you on board today. Just a heads up, this is going to be a real life recording because I had this all planned out, the timing, I need to get this done today. And we had a thunderstorm hit right in the middle of this. And Sam, as you hear me talk about him a lot on this podcast, he is terrified of thunderstorms. So we are currently hunkered down in the bedroom, and I brought my mic in here and we're recording in here because it's where it's his safe space. I've got a fan going on in the background that's really loud, so you may pick it up, some ambient noise there. We're just going to have fun today and just chill out and do this recording and a little bit of real life. We're being very real today. So a couple things I want to talk to you about, and then we're going to jump into this podcast. One thing that I hear from people a lot, and I felt it myself so keenly when I was in the midst of working my way through all this depression and anxiety. I felt so alone. Like I was in this by myself. I did not recognize myself many times. Just struggling with this, the depression, the anxiety. My behavior was just kind of all over the place, and I didn't understand why I was acting that way. And I felt so alone and isolated in that process. And I hear this from you as well. I really want you to hear this from me. You are not alone. And that's one reason why I created this podcast. It's the reason why I built the Facebook community so that you can connect with other people that struggle with the same things that you're struggling with. It's also why I send out a weekly email to connect with my insiders, to give you a little bit of encouragement and let you know you are not in this fight alone. You have people that are walking right along beside you and to help you out and to give you a light of hope in this process. So if you have not already become an insider, let me encourage you to do that. You can just go to insider.grwebsite.com and sign up. You'll get weekly encouragement from me to help you feel connected, be part of the community. You'll also get insider information for upcoming deals. So when I have sales that are going to come out or special offers, there's some that will come out that will be for my insiders only. Others will be early notice for stuff that's going to be coming up for the podcast audience at large. But you'll hear about it first when you're an insider. When you join the insiders, you're part of a community. And we come alongside you, walk with you through this process because you are not alone. So again, if you want to join that, if you want to be part of that community and really connect, just go to insider.grwebsite.com, your name, your email address. I promise you're not going to get spammed from me. Go to insider.grwebsite.com and sign up today. Something that is one of my favorite topics, and I know you're like, okay, you say that all the time, and I do say it a lot because a lot of the topics we talk about, I love to discuss because they were so powerful in helping me to recover. But the one we're going to talk about today is one of the turning points in my healing process, and that is setting boundaries. Oh my goodness. When I finally got a handle on this and started setting boundaries in my life, both for myself and my relationships and my work environment, it was like night and day. Totally revolutionized how I was doing when I learned to say no, both to others and to myself. So I want to be able to talk to y'all a little bit about boundaries. And there's so much I want to talk about. I'm going to create a little mini series on this. Yet another mini series. I love these things. So we're going to do a mini series on boundaries. We're going to include an interview on this. We're going to have some examples, some exercises to walk y'all through and talk about this. But today I want to just give you a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about and why it's so important. So many times when people say boundaries, they're either like, those are horrible, they're terrible, or I don't know how to set them, or I know I should set them, I don't know how. So this is stuff we're going to talk about over the next few weeks here. So we're going to talk a little bit about what boundaries are and what they are not. So boundaries are personal limits that protect our physical, emotional, and mental well-being by defining acceptable behavior in relationships, work, and other areas of life. Now, these can be really difficult initially to get your hands around, and the fact that they're there to protect not only you, but the other party in that relationship. This is how you can have healthy, well-balanced relationships with your family, with your friends, with your work, whatever it may be, even with yourself. To be able to have a healthy relationship, you do that by setting boundaries. Now, sometimes boundaries can get a bad rep because they're like, well, the people are building brick walls and say do not enter. They're really hard-nosed about it. It's not fair to everybody else. It's just, all about themselves. And you could abuse boundaries in that way and create it like a brick wall and have a do not enter sign on it. But really, boundaries done the right way are more like a bridge than they are a wall. So when you're erecting a wall, you're cutting people off. You're not giving them the right to reply. You're giving them prolonged silent treatment. You're shutting them out completely. You're shutting down, pushing them away. All these things. And some of this could be from a manipulative behavior, or it could be that you're so worn out, exhausted emotionally, that you're entering that burnout zone, or just your anxiety has gotten to such a degree that you're starting to shut down. Could be depression as well. So you're building walls as a means of protecting yourself because you've experienced the abuse of your time, the abuse of your whatever it is that you're setting boundaries for. And so you just build these walls to shut people out. Well, that's not a boundary. And there are times when walls are built to protect yourself, and can't say they're always a bad thing, because sometimes you might need to build walls to protect yourself, but it's really better to take the time to build some healthy boundaries and to enact those. Because it keeps you connected. When you're going into this wall mode, this is when you're shutting down emotionally, you're withdrawing from people, you're avoiding contact or avoiding whatever it is that caused the issue. You're completely disconnecting. And again, I think there might be times and places for that. If you have people that have hurt you severely, or you've tried to work with and they're just not working with you at all. I remember one time in my 20s, a very wise woman told me, Lori, sometimes the best way you can get along with people is from very far away, because it just doesn't work. And so sometimes walls in that particular situation, when you're dealing with hostile people, they might be the best way to move forward. So I'm not going to say there's never a time to build walls, but we're talking about building boundaries with people that you love or respect, or in areas that you need to consistently engage. So what a boundary does instead is it builds a healthy bridge. It's really more like a bridge than a fortress. We're trying to avoid the fortress for normal circumstances. So boundaries do not block connection. It provides structure for that connection. It says you can come this far and here's how. Like, I want to stay connected with you. And so here's how we can do it and stay healthy. This is what works for me. This is what I can sustain. And this is where I can meet you in honesty, where I'm showing up as the real me and being able to provide you stuff out of a place of openness and authenticity. So instead of the chronic one-sided access where you can always just get to me all the time, or you're always asking for stuff from me, or I'm always providing it, we're going to create some intentional, sustainable connection where it's not just an automatic yes, it's an intentional yes. Something that you're thinking through. Your connection becomes intentional instead of automatic. And that's the bridge in the relationship. When you're talking about trauma, this becomes really important because they've added a fourth category to trauma. You had the fight, flight, and then they had the freeze for a while. And they've recently, in the last, 5-10 years, have added the fawn category, the FAWN. And this is where people are just really into people pleasing, or connecting because they feel like that's where they're safe. And we're going to get into that a little bit more in one of our future episodes. But if you've lived in this area where you have unlimited access for people 24/7, they don't have to pay for anything. It's like a no toll bridge into your life. Anyone can cross anytime for anything. But eventually the bridge begins to collapse because it becomes overloaded. You know, when you cross a bridge, especially your small country bridges, they'll have weight limits on them. There's a reason, because if you get a truck on there, it's going to break it down if the truck is too heavy. Well, it's the same thing in your personal life. If you allow people to have unlimited access to you, it's going to eventually collapse the bridge because there's too much on it. And it leads to burnout, it leads to resentment and emotional shutdown. When you start setting boundaries, it can feel like you're building walls, but you're not. You're building the bridge with structure. So instead of having this unlimited access, 24/7, anyone can cross, you have a weight limit, which is your capacity. You have open hours, which is your availability, and you have direction. Again, intentional yeses versus an automatic yes. So this requires a shifting your thinking. So instead of thinking, if I set a boundary, I'm pushing people away, think of it this way. I'm creating a way to stay connected to the people that I love, the people that need me, without losing myself in the process. And that presents a completely different posture. Because if you lose yourself in the process, you're not going to be there to connect anyway, because you're just going to be lost. And you don't want to go there. Not a great place to be. So you want to stay connected to these people. This is the driving desire of your heart, is to be there to serve, to stay connected to the people that you love. And to be able to do that, you need to provide structure so that you have a way to continue staying connected in the ways that you want to be connected. How does this look like in real life? We've talked about some theory, giving you some hypothetical examples, but how would this look like in real life? So a wall would say, I can't deal with anyone right now, and you shut down, you avoid and disconnect. And I have been there before. I've been to the point where I've pushed myself too far that I couldn't connect with other people. I've been in relationships that have been pushed too far and I just had to disconnect. And we're trying to avoid that. This is an extreme situation where it's been a failure of boundary setting. With no boundaries, you're overgiving. Yes, I can do that, even when you're completely exhausted. Yes, I can continue to give. Yes, I can continue to be available. Where a bridge or a boundary is something where you're saying, I can't help with that this week, but I can check in next week. Because this week your plate is too full. You have too much going on, and if you were to do that, it's going to push you to the point where you're ready to start shutting down, and you don't want to do that. You want to stay connected, but you need to do it healthy. So I can help with this next week. I just can't this week. Or you could just say, I'm not available for that, but I do want to stay connected, so let's find another way that we can do that that works for both of us. So you see the difference there? Instead of just one saying, I can't deal with people right now, I'm completely just shutting down, building a wall, do not enter. That's the wall. No boundaries at all is, yes, I can do it, even though I resent doing this. I'm tired of this. I am exhausted. I don't have time, but I'll do it because you ask. Or the bridge, the boundary that says, I can't do it this week, but I can check in next week. Or I'm not available for that, but I do want to stay connected. You can maintain that connection and make it healthy when you're building those bridges or those boundaries, because it's honest and it's contained and sustainable. This is something you can maintain. So many times, especially if you've been caught in this trap of overgiving and always being available and giving 110%, digging a little bit deeper, it can make you feel like you have to do that to have a healthy relationship. Healthy relationships do not need unlimited access. They need clarity, honesty, and mutual respect. Let me say that again. Healthy relationships do not need unlimited access. They need clarity, honesty, and mutual respect. And boundaries help you create those conditions. Without them, without the boundaries, connections can become uneven, they become draining, and eventually you end up resenting that relationship because it's taking too much from you, or it's unbalanced. With boundaries, connection becomes a chosen activity, it becomes steady and sustainable, and it's real. It's something that is true and real and something you can rely on. So when you get to the point that you can stop overgiving, you're not ending the connection with the people that you love. You're finally making it possible to be there as the real you, as who you really are, and to build sustainable, real, honest relationships. So in the upcoming episodes that we have, we're going to talk about some of this because it's not easy. If you have not been setting boundaries, this can be a lot of work and it can be challenging. And there's times when you need to say no. You know there's a boundary that's going to be crossed. You need to say no, but it's really hard to do that. We're going to talk about that, why that is, and what you can do to help fix that and to help redirect some of that. Another thing that happens a lot when you set boundaries is you automatically feel guilty because you're cutting off access. And especially to those that are kind of demanding and they really want that. And you're like, nope, not going to do that. And you can start feeling guilty. So we're going to talk about that in the upcoming episodes. We're going to walk you through how to set your very first boundary. And it could be just a pause that changes everything and that opens the door to setting even better boundaries. And then we're going to talk about how to say no without explaining forever. You do not have to give people a 5 to 10 minute dissertation as to why you're saying no. And you can talk, we're going to talk about some of that. We're going to give you some real life examples, walk you through that. I'm really excited about this because this is something that can really, really change how you're approaching your healing process. Because you set boundaries, there are boatloads of kinds of boundaries that you can set. But just for example, when you can set boundaries for yourself. You're staying up too late at night, you're not getting enough nutrition, you're staying too late at work, whatever it may be, there may be boundaries for yourself that you need to set. And those are important. It could be mental boundaries that you're setting. Either people are trying to control what you're thinking, so you're setting boundaries to allow yourself to have your own thoughts. Or you're setting, like you tend to go down these rabbit holes and worry and fret, and you set mental boundaries that can keep you from going down those. It could be emotional boundaries. Maybe it's material. If you're one of those people that tend to hoard all your money, maybe you set a boundary on how much you save and give a little bit more. Or maybe you're on the flip side of that and you tend to spend everything that you have. And so you set a boundary for saving, or maybe you give away too much or you're not giving enough. So these are just some of the boundaries you could set. You could set time boundaries. I'm only going to spend 30 minutes on my phone tonight. No more than that. I'm not going to be on Facebook more than 30 minutes. Or, whatever that could be. There are boatloads of boundaries you can set. Figuring out where you need those and how to set them, how to keep them. We're going to talk about some of that in the coming weeks. And like I said, really excited because this can be revolutionary in how you heal. Once you get a handle on how to set boundaries and start doing it a little bit at a time, and you start seeing the difference in your life. So we're going to wrap this up tonight. Thankfully, we had no lightning today while I was recording, so Sam did not go ballistic. And hopefully the fan in the background isn't too disruptive. Y'all have a great day, and we'll talk about this more next week. A quick reminder, if you want to join the Insider community and be able to get the weekly encouraging emails from me, just go to insider.grwebsite.com and join today. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.